Hey everybody, Zach here. I'm back again to talk to you about Barbershop. As I'm sure everybody knows by now, Barbershop is by far my favorite style, and I love talking about it. So when they asked me to make a video for tonight's Groovers Got Knowledge Part 2, I knew I had to do more about Barbershop and share some nice knowledge about it with all of you. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about tuning in acapella singing and in barbershop, and I'm going to talk about the barbershop seventh chord and the overtones that you get in barbershop singing. It's going to get a little technical, and there's some audio things that you need to listen for, so I would recommend putting on your headphones so you can hear them better. Um, but yeah, let's jump right into it. For anyone that didn't see my last talk or doesn't know what barbershop is, it's a particular style of a cappella singing that was really popular in America in the early 1900s. It's sung in four-part harmony, usually with a quartet of four guys that all sing together. Yeah, and the thing about a cappella singing is that you can tune differently than you can with instruments. With I'm not going to get much into the math and the science behind all this, but instruments are tuned in what's called equal temperament because it's impossible to get all the notes of an instrument, all the intervals, to line up exactly right for every key at the same time. And so if you tune a piano perfectly for one key, it'll sound great when you play in that key, but when you switch, it will sound horrible. And you don't want to have to tune your piano after every single song. So they have to compromise and tune in equal temperament. And the problem is that then some of the intervals are just ever so slightly off. It's not enough that you usually really notice it, but it does have a slight effect with the harmonics that you get. Whereas with singing, it's a lot easier to do it in what's called just intonation, which means that all the intervals are perfectly spaced because we can tune with our vocal cords just at will. And in barbershop, as an a cappella style, everything is sung in just intonation. So I'm going to show you the barbershop seventh chord in 12-tone equal temperament and in just intonation. This is a dominant seventh, or in just intonation, it's called a harmonic seventh. But in barbershop, we call it a barbershop seventh because this is a really important chord, and it's kind of like the meat and potatoes of barbershop singing. But you can see that not all the intervals are exactly the same between equal temperament and just intonation. In particular, the seventh is 31 cents too sharp in equal temperament versus just intonation. And the waveform, if you look at it, is a lot more wavy in 12-tone equal temperament and not quite as clean. Those are called beats because the frequencies don't line up quite perfectly. Whereas in just intonation, it's a clear, flat line. So I'm going to play you a short snippet of this chord in equal temperament and in just intonation. First is going to be equal temperament, and then right after that, it'll be just intonation. And I want you to listen. If you listen closely to the equal temperament one, you should be able to hear a slight buzzing in the background because of those beats. Yeah, so you can hear that the just intonation one sounds a lot cleaner than the equal temperament one. But the thing is, those recordings are just pure tones. right? Those are just the fundamental frequencies played on top of each other. When you sing or when you play an instrument, you get a lot of overtones also. You get a lot of the higher harmonics from the harmonic series that are layered there too. And normally these are not really audible, but they do make the sound a little bit rounder and make it sound more distinct between different instruments. The thing is, when you sing with four guys and you get the chord to line up just perfectly, you can get these overtones to line up and you can make it louder. And so this happens when you get the tuning perfectly and when you blend together just right. And Barbershop, because it's sung in just intonation, that allows the harmonics to line up a lot easier. And the style is what's called homophonic, which means that everyone is singing sort of the same rhythm and the same syllables all the time together. And so that makes the blending a lot easier. And so when barbershoppers nail the tuning on a chord just perfect and get it to blend just right, the overtones of all four singers will stack on top of each other, and you can get a clear, audible overtone, which you can hear in the singing. And we say that a chord rings, and it gives it like just a much fuller sound, and it's really amazing. So I'm going to play for you the tag, which is like just the end bit of one of my favorite barbershop songs. And I want you to listen in particular to the final chord and listen to just how much it rings. Here comes the spider! Spider-Man, Spider-Man, radioactive spider. Life is a great big bang up. Wherever there's a hang up, you'll find the Spider-Man. And you can see at the end there, you can tell that they're really pumped and they know they nailed it because they're like, yeah. If you ever listen in person or you get a chance to sing with some really great barbershoppers and you really nail that final chord and get it to ring like that, it gives you goosebumps. And that is what barbershop is all about. I'm going to play just that final chord one more time and listen again to just how full of a sound they get and listen to that ringing I was talking about. Spider-Man! Well, that is the end of my talk. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a little bit about this amazing style barbershop and about tuning and things like that. If you have any questions about barbershop in general and the music theory behind it, I'm happy to answer those. Or if you have any questions about tuning and equal temperament versus just intonation, I'm not really an expert, but I'm sure maybe some other people in the chat can help me out to answer some of the more technical questions. But I hope you have a fantastic evening, and I hope you learn a lot from all the other groovers tonight. So, good night.